Some folktales are centered on magical tales of heroism and grandeur, the vanquishing of evil and the pursuit of a princess, and helping others in order to make the world a better place. However, some folktales don't have happy endings, and some can just be downright disturbing, with many Scandinavian legends being grim and utterly terrifying. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scary Swedish urban legends. Let's jump in. Kicking off with a short one at number 5, we have the Dragon, who is the ghost of a man who died at sea. In one specific iteration, a man fled from a ghost, calling out to the dead to save him. The next day, the cemetery was covered in seaweed and the graves were wide open. Many claim to see the Dragon, huge and covered in seaweed, particularly during storms, where he will skin boats and drown sailors. This dude is no fun at all. I would just say stay away from the ocean, stay away from water in general. That is my motto. Coming in at 4, Mylen. This is perhaps one of the most disturbing ghost stories, with Mylen telling the tale of unwanted or murdered children. Yeah, nothing fun here. Oftentimes the ghosts are referred to as upbird, meaning that which is outside. The ghosts of these children long to be given a proper burial, so they jump on the back of the first person they meet and demand to be taken to a cemetery. In some cases, the Mylen drains power from its human ride, and in others, the human is too weak and dies from exertion. The ghost often takes on human form as it gets closer to the burial ground, and is described as a very large spirit. The root of the Mylen is believed to be a response to instances of unexplained deaths of children. Yeah, this one is dark. Sure, that makes sense. Coming in at 3, the sacrificial beggar child. This Swedish legend goes that there was a town called Daland that was inflicted by disease that was wiping out a lot of the population and resulting in many residents fleeing. The townspeople were beside themselves until one day a man from Finland came along with advice on how to stop the disease. He told them that only a sacrifice would put an end to the misery, and explained that they would need to bury a living thing in the ground. The villagers were desperate, so they took his advice. They began the process by burying a rooster alive in the ground, but the act failed to produce any results, so instead they decided to bury an entire goat. However, this also failed. Feeling that they had no other options left, they decided the only sacrifice worthy enough to end the disease would be an actual human being. They set their sights on an orphan boy and offered him bread as bait, which he fell for before dropping into a prepared hole. The villagers began to bury the hapless child, who was absolutely terrified and pled with them for mercy, but they continued on. Before long, the deed had been done and the child was left to die. However, some villagers claimed they could hear his cries from beneath the ground, begging for them to release him. Coming in at number 2, the Christmas ghosts. This legend begins with a woman preparing to head to midnight Christmas mass. In order for her and her friend to make it on time, they agreed to wake the other and head out at the same time. Late at night, she thought she heard her friend telling her it was time to leave, so she grabbed some bread that she had baked for later and head out. While en route, she stumbled across 2 witches who wished to murder her on the spot. However, they couldn't harm her because of the cross in her pocket. She didn't think much of it and proceeded to the church, heading quickly inside. As she was sitting, she heard something that utterly terrified her, a voice that told her that she could be killed on the spot, but would be spared because the speaker was her godfather. The voice made it clear that she was in terrible danger. She looked around and quickly realized all of the people gathered in the church were headless. She ran, only to be accosted by a ghostly parishioner, who attempted to grab her by the veil. She escaped, but upon her return she saw the remains of her veil that had been seized by the ghosts, ripped into tiny pieces and distributed amongst the graves that were outside the church. Her mind instantly imagining what could have been if the ghost had grabbed her instead of the veil. And finally, coming in at number 1, Kid A Grapple. This legend tells the tale of a very evil woman named Kid A Grapple, who was so despicable she apparently knew the devil himself. They were on first name basis, and she was so nasty that even he sometimes feared her. The devil had been attempting to spread discord between a married couple but had failed, resulting in Kitta mocking him, saying that she could easily complete the deed herself. So she did just that, with the devil's encouragement, even promising her a beautiful pair of shoes if she were to succeed. Kitta first went to the wife, informing her that her husband was a wonderful man, but there was evil in his heart. She claimed she needed to shave her husband under his chin to remove the last of the wickedness that resided in him. The woman agreed, believing this would do good, could. Kit next went to the husband, where she praised their marriage and the man's wife, but told him that his wife planned to cut his throat. Straight up savagery. He didn't believe it, but became a little paranoid, so one evening while in bed he pretended to be asleep, during which time his wife attempted to carry out her plan of shaving his chin. Her husband of course believed she was trying to kill him. Now don't fret, they didn't kill each other, but it did create the discord the devil was so hoping for, and Kid A Grapple ended up earning herself a brand new pair of shoes. Good on you, Kid. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any Swedish legends that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, as well as what place you would like us to tackle next. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.